So let's have available what we need for our practice: our large pillows, bolsters, cushions, blankets. And because we're coming into International Women's Day, I wanted to focus on restoring and replenishing our energy. And so this practice today is about addressing adrenal fatigue. So many of us may have been experiencing adrenal fatigue in this last year in terms of the amount of stress, pressures that we may have experienced. So today really is a practice of nourishing ourselves, resetting where we are, coming back into hormonal balance. And this practice is that I've designed it so that it's beneficial to all gender expressions, and it is suitable for those with or without a womb, so that it's inclusive practice. We all have hormones, our pituitary, our pineal, and our hypothalamus glands, and our thyroid glands. So we're going to be focusing on that today. In your comfortable seat, let's start with some tapping today. So we'll do some gentle tapping here. Just let's start on the karate chop. And the karate chop is the outside edge of the palm. And you can start either on the left or right. I'm starting on my left side because we're connecting with yin practice, which is connected to the yin element, the yin aspect, the cooling, nourishing, replenishing, nourishing aspect. So as we tap here, perhaps our affirmation is, I am balanced in body, mind, and spirit. I am balanced in body, mind, and spirit. Let's do the right karate chop now. Tapping there. I am balanced in body, mind, and spirit. I am balanced in body, mind, and spirit. Now let's go to the crown. So you'll have what we call the fontanelle, which is that soft part here. For most people, it will have, fontanelle, it'll join together. But I had meningitis as a child, so I have quite a tender spot there. So I tend to tap on either side of where your fontanelle would meet. So tapping here. And perhaps the affirmation that you invite here is, I am in tune with my body, mind, and spirit. I am in tune with my body, mind, and spirit. And now let's come to the inner edge of the eyebrows. So you can start on one side, or you can tap both sides with two fingers here, the peace fingers. I recognize when my body, mind, and spirit need support and attention. I recognize when my body, mind, spirit needs support and attention to the outer eye, so the corner of the eyes. I take action to restore my health and well-being. I take action to restore my health and well-being. Underneath the eye, so just at the below the where you might have, where we traditionally have our eye bag, so just there. So you can still be, you're tapping slightly on the cheekbone there. It's the bony part rather than the soft part underneath your eye. So the socket of the eye, really. I seek support and help when I need something extra. I seek support and help when I need something extra. Now to the cheekbones. And I like to go around the back of my ears here. So tracing around the ears on the skull. Right onto the jaw. And now I can come above my lip. So just where the cupid's bow of your lip is, underneath your nose. And again, with 2 fingers here, with the peace fingers. And perhaps here your affirmation is, I restore myself with love and care. I restore myself with love and care. Underneath the lower lip, and perhaps your affirmation here is, I nourish myself so that I may follow my actions and aspirations that I hope for. I nourish myself in order to manifest and follow my actions, inspirations, aspirations. And now let's come down to the collarbone. So along the collarbone, so left and right here, down to the heart space and the sternum. I move from a place of love and compassion for my body, mind, and spirit. I move from a place of love and compassion for my body, mind, spirit. And now finally underneath your armpits. So just up armpits, and then where you might have your bra strap or sort of parallel to your pecs there. And then the other side. I do all that I need to take care of myself. I do all that I need to take care of myself. And then finally, karate chop, both hands, and then the inner wrist here, just here with 2 fingers. And then you may choose any affirmation that you wish to connect with that one that I may not have shared or spoken. So take a full breath in here. Finger, index and thumb together, palms face down, chin mudra. Full breath in through both nostrils. Full breath out through both nostrils. And as we inhale, let's rise with our arms up to the count of 6 on the inhale. So starting from the earth, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Palms come together. Exhale for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Hands together at the heart center, opening by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale fully. Om. Inhale. Om. As you send 10 namaste and welcome. So for our first pose, we're going to start immediately on the earth. And we're going to start with Matsyasana, supported fish pose. So for this pose, I invite you to either have your blocks or your folded blankets or cushions, but you need two. And let's move that there. So we're going to have one where we will rest our head. So our head will rest on that. So you can have either a block or you can substitute that for a folded blanket or a cushion. So yogi's choice here, whatever you choose. A cushion, a blanket will definitely be more comfortable. But I'm just going to demo with the block. And then the second block that you will need to have this between your shoulder blades. So you can have it slightly lower than the one at the head. And so you probably need to leave sort of a gap between your sort of back of your head and the middle of your shoulder blades. And you can always adjust it. You can lie your block down flat, or you can have it lying on its side so it's parallel. Yogi's choice. So I know that when I have my block on its side, that it's too high for my shoulder blades. So I'm going to have it lying flat. And you might want to cover yourself with a blanket. So what you want to do is line up the middle of your shoulder blades with that cushion, blanket, or block that's placed there. So come down to rest on that. And then just position the block or blanket or cushion that's underneath your head. And extend your legs long. So that you have a sense of opening here. So we'll have a sense of opening in the throat and the heart space here. Arms and legs wide. So this is supported fish pose. Now you can always adjust the height. You can lower it, or you can add more height. So I'm going to see what this feels like on the side. I might not keep it there. I might just see what it feels like. So you might need to adjust it a few times until it feels comfortable. This is a real throat and heart opener. So here, we're really opening up the front of the body here. So we're working here on the hypothalamus, the thyroid, and the pituitary. And we can close our eyes here. Perhaps we place an eye pillow over our eyes. And remember, in Yin, we come into our pose, but come to the appropriate edge. So place where we can feel some resistance. But that resistance it may feel strong, but it's not to the deepest edge. So if we wanted to, we could stay here for longer. We could deepen the sensation. If we immediately go into the deepest sensation, then we're not allowing our body to soften and relax. So the first invitation is for the body to soften and relax into the pose. And then once it relaxes into the pose, then we can begin to expand the range of motion, the range of the depth of openness, the depth of release. So you only need to feel it slightly. It doesn't need to be punishing in any way. And if it is punishing, then you've probably gone too far. I've risen and I've placed a blanket over my blocks so that there's a sense of the blocks aren't poking into my bones as much. And in yin, we stay in poses for longer. So it takes at least 2 minutes for us to begin to soften physically and adapt to the shape that we've come into. So we're working here beyond the outer layer. We want to drop down into the deep tissue layer. And so we want to work at these deeper levels on the tissues, the ligaments, the tendons. Then we want to hold these poses for longer because we firstly tend to engage our muscles, but we want to move beyond the muscles. Sense where the openings in your body are. Sense where the sensations in your body are here in supported fish pose. And perhaps you connect with one of our affirmations. I tune into my body, mind, spirit. I bring awareness to the health and well-being of my body and mind and spirit. Because once we are aware of our body's needs, our mind's needs, our needs of our spirit, then we are able to take action to fulfill, to nourish, to replenish, or to make amends with our body, make amends with our mind, to restore it, to make repair. 3 more breaths here in supported fish. And this is an absolutely delightful pose. It feels deeply restorative. And I could pretty much spend an entire yin practice like so. So to rise up from here, I invite you to bend into your knees and roll over onto one side. Support yourself with your hands and arms as you turn onto one side. So I've come onto my left side here. My head is still resting on my block, but my shoulders have been released from my support of my block and blanket. So just resting here for a couple of moments to align the spine, realign the organs, realign the energy pathways. So let's rise up very slowly here. And staying on this side, the hip that you are in, we're going to come into the deer rotation pose. So I have my left hip here. So I already have blocks and, here. So I might go to do a little bit of rearrangement of my blocks. And I'm going to place my pillow here. So you can use my large pillow here, or my bolster here. Here you can use cushions and blankets to create an angle to your pillow or bolster. So if you've got blocks handy or large books, you can just pile them up at the top end of your bolster. So making sure that it's comfortable here. You could even place a little cushion or a blanket at the top of your bolster for you to rest your head in. And then bring that left hip. So I've got my left hip here, so I'll just bring my left hip here. And we're going to rotate the heart over onto the bolster. So take a moment here, and then I bring my left ear to my bolster. My legs are in a zigzag shape, quite relaxed. I turn my palms face up. So the higher your bolster or pillow, the less intense the experience. The lower it is, the closer to the earth you come, the more intense the twist might feel. So you can be at a height with your pillow or bolster that feels sustainable or supportive or nourishing to you. So as we work through our sequence today of Yin, we're really working on regulating the hormonal system so that we can improve the functionality, the flow of our hormones, so that we can balance them rather than feeling at the mercy of our hormones. We take note of any imbalance where we may be overproducing or underproducing. And we know when we feel out of sorts. And the reason I particularly invite us in this practice today is that woman has often disproportionately borne the burden of caregiving, of nourishing and supporting others, traditional gender roles, the pay gap and all that it means, and all of the experiences in the workplace, harassment, bullying. And for those of our sisters who are transgender, physical violence, phobia, fear and phobia, exclusion. So therefore that can deplete us of our natural resource. So we all become fatigued. And in order for us to step out and step up and stake our claim to be here, our right to be here and show up as woman, we want to be as resourced as we can. One more breath here. Turn your hands down, palms face down, and inhale to rise up. Come onto your knees just for a moment and tuck your toes. And then reach back with your sit bones towards your heel and then reach forward. So let's just sway backwards and forwards for a moment. You can have your knees wide or closer together. So we just want to move around the pelvic area here. So the sacral area where our organs may be located, or our energy centers, the Swadhisthana. And then bring the big toes to touch, knees as wide as your mat perhaps. And then let's rest on our bolster. And again, you can have one ear on the side, or you can have your eyebrow center on the pillow, whatever feels comfortable for you. If you're going to have your eyebrow center on the pillow, create a little pillow so that you're not pressing your nose, so there's a bit of space for your nose so that you can breathe. So I've created a little resting place for my forehead. So here my pineal gland is being stimulated. I have plenty of space to breathe. Move my hair out of the way, you can see. I have plenty of space to breathe. So those of us with more generous noses, one might want to create a slightly higher base for our forehead. So here You can see that we're opening up through where we would have our testes, our ovaries. Perhaps we have space for them. Perhaps in our subtle body, that's where we place those. Perhaps our relationship with our reproductive organs is challenged. In terms of our capacity or willingness to parent and reproduce, perhaps our capacity to express our gender in the way that feels most comfortable for our identity. So these relationships can be challenging, perhaps for those of us who've had hysterectomies. So these are stories of our genders and how those stories have defined us as one or the other in these binary formats. We want to reclaim these stories, recreate our sense of self, our sense of who we are, so that we are able to manifest our own identities and stand within the power of that as woman or as man. And when I talk about those senses, it is how you define yourself, perhaps as non-binary. One more breath here. And then let's rise up with our eyebrow center and bring our right hip up against the bolster. And so that our right shin is parallel to the long edge and our left foot is behind us, zigzag shape with our legs. Turn our hearts over the bolster, hands on either side, and bring your right ear to rest here on your pillow. And now you might want to lower your pillow so it's not just high. And take into the right. So this concept of woman has many complexities to it. There's what we call intersectionality of all of our different aspects of who we are that come in to tell our story as woman. And that alone can be exhausting, trying to explain ourselves to others, trying to invite others to understand who we are. So we want to ease the flow of our energy so that we can connect to our story. We can allow ourselves to go with the flow so that our energy flow, it revitalizes us rather than drains us. Observe what is rising up for you in your body, mind, spirit here. Connect with this sense of, I am responsive to the needs of my body, mind, spirit. I take all actions that I need to restore, replenish, repair my body, mind, spirit, so that I can begin to release the stress. I can soften and relax into my body, mind, spirit from a place of acceptance for the self. to know that even when others do not accept me, that my relationship with the self comes from a place of compassion and love. One more breath here. Inhale to rise up. Let's turn and face our bolster properly. We're going to move into Sphinx Pose here. So you might wish to have, there are going to be different options here. So let's place our pillow, large pillow or bolster along the top of our mat. So we want to create a little sort of rolled up sausage with our blanket. So here you go. And we'll place it across the middle of our mat. So we ideally want to have our hips and pelvis and lower abdomen resting on this folded blanket. We can have our forearms directly on the earth, or we can have them on our bolster, so that our bolster is closer to our chest and our forearms can be on the other side. So you might want to experiment again here where you want to come to. So you might have to move up and down on that. So I'm going to adjust myself so that the heaviest part of my hips and pelvis and my lower abdomen are on my folded blanket. Now, I want to place my forearms on the earth, but I'd like to have the support of my large pillow underneath my arms. So my bolster or my pillow is supporting my rib cage here. My feet are quite wide here, or you can have your feet quite close together. And my feet are in the dog bed. And your head could be, your crown can be lifted here. Again, if you wish to fold forward, remember you can always stack some pillows or cushions underneath your eyebrow center here. And this is why it always helps to have lots of props. Again, you know you can practice this all without any props. And you just can use the props that you have at home. So blankets, large pillow. I happen to have some props because I've been a yoga teacher for some time. But before I had props at home, I would just make use of whatever I could find. So now this is almost the reverse of what we started with. And this is this Sphinx pose, if you have a menstrual cycle, which causes you discomfort or pain, then Sphinx pose is very soothing for the menstrual cycle. It aids the flow of blood to the pelvic area. Here we also, you'll know, in Sphinx we stimulate the kidneys, again the flow of fluids to the urinary bladder, the kidney. And perhaps you connect with your positive affirmation here. I am healthy in body, mind, and spirit. I take care of my health and well-being. Let's have 2 more minutes here in Sphinx. And remember, our practice today is to be restorative, to reset our hormonal balance. Ten more breaths here, signaling to your body that you're about to move. Inhaling to lift your head. Pressing into your hands. We're going to move directly into Pigeon Pose here. Now, if you prefer to take the reclined version of Pigeon, you can roll onto your back. And let's place the right leg on the left knee. And you can leave your foot on a bolster, or you can lift your leg up here. So this is a reclined pigeon. And you want to keep turning that right knee out. So supta pigeon, if you're doing the variation where you're lying on your front here. So you can use your bolster. So I'm going to take my bolster up and just turn it lengthways so your pillow can be there. I like to keep this folded blanket here. And I'm going to place that at the point where I'm going to move this candle here because that is a danger zone. So we're going to take our right leg forward. So bring your knee up towards your right hand, your right knee. And then you might need to do a little bit of adjustment because I want to use this folded blanket underneath my right sit bone so that I'm almost sitting here. You can see that I'm sitting on this folded blanket. So my right knee is by my right hand. My left leg is extended long. And I'm going to use my large pillow or bolster so that when I lie down, I'm lying down on that rather than directly the earth. But you can lie down directly on the earth here. So you might want to adjust your right shin so it's at a whatever angle feels most comfortable for you. But it's really wonderful to have this folded blanket underneath my right sit bone. So I'm going to just create a little bit of space for myself here. And again, you can have your eyebrow center on your bolster or pillow, or you can have your left or right ear on your bolster. So this is a supported sleeping swan or supported pigeon pose. There's lots of names for the same poses. So you can be reclined on your back, or you can be prone in pigeon. For some people, pigeon like this can feel too intense for the hips. But this is absolutely one of my most favorite poses. It is one of the most challenging poses in yoga. but the sense of release that you get here, you can see we're really working around our sacral area, around the Swadhisthana chakra. And this is really connected to the element of water, that concept of fluid or flow. So that aiding the flow of the hormones through our system, improving our circulation, our blood flow. It's often said that this area here is the door of life. It's where we experience pleasure, the seat of our sensuality. It's also the seat of creation, whether that creativity is expressed in giving birth to the next generation, or whether it's that creativity in giving birth to ideas. That sense of fertility that we all create in one way or another. We create loving relationships. We create change. We create peace. It is not in all of our karma or destiny. For some of us, our dharma, our life's purpose, can be different. For us, satisfaction comes in one way, for others satisfaction comes in another way. We all have our role to play, yet our roles do not have to be identical. We do not come here with the same purpose in life to fulfill the same roles. And yet each and every one is valuable, is part of the jigsaw of life. Let's have another minute here in Pigeon. This is why I like to wear my pajamas for this practice, because it really helps me to associate relaxation with sleep. So that when I want to create a positive connection or association, then I will use the tools available to me, such as the scents. So the candle that's burning, when I inhale that scent while I'm practicing yin yoga or restorative practice of yin. And yet when I burn that candle in my bedroom, it recreates that same memory of how to relax. When I wear my pajamas, I associate my pajamas with relaxation, with rest. We're going to move from our pigeon pose. So inhale and rise up slowly here. So you come up to high pigeon. And then bring that left leg forward and extend it long just for a moment. So both legs extend long. And I'm going to place my pillow or bolster underneath my knees. And you can see that I'm still sitting here, really feel supported on my cushion here. And I'm going to fold forward into caterpillar. Now, if you're like on the earth with the reclined version of pigeon, then you already have your bolster in the right place. So with care, roll over onto one side and then come up into caterpillar. Lengthen and exhale and fold. And perhaps you take hold of your feet or you reach towards your feet. Place your hands somewhere on your legs. And if you can reach your toes here, this is a great time for a foot massage. We're not going to be here for very long because we're going to move into pigeon on the other side. Just a couple of minutes here. Three more breaths here in caterpillar. And then on the third breath, inhale to rise up. Slide your hands along your body. And we're going to move into pigeon on the left side. So if you're reclining, you can come back to the earth. Slowly lower yourself onto the earth. Place your right foot on the floor or your bolster and cross the left ankle underneath your right thigh. And you can be in this variation. Remember, you can lift that right foot as well if you want. Bring it close to that right knee close to you, and that will intensify the stretch you feel in the left hip. Otherwise, let's change our bolster back long ways. Swing our legs around. And so we're going to take that right leg along behind us and just bring that left heel in front of us. It should be quite a smooth transition. But again, place that left foot where you need it to be. And then when you're happy here, again, adjust your blanket so it supports you underneath that left side of your sit bones. And then fold down towards your bolster. And you'll be here for the remainder of this time here. Allow your breath to be slow and steady. Allow any sensations that arise in your body to dissolve. Allow yourself to soften, to relax, to release. This practice for bringing balance to your hormones so that you can begin to address any sense of fatigue, a sense of imbalance where there might be over or under production. And remember, we're working on the energy level here. So that energy lines, the flow of energy, the flow of chi to and from our organs and glands is able to flow more smoothly. So that we can bring our body, mind, spirit into harmony, equanimity, balance. In this moment, you have space to be the full expression of your identity as woman, or as man, or as non-binary, however you express yourself, knowing that your relationship with the self is the most valuable resource you have available to yourself to nourish, replenish, restore, repair, so that your relationship with the body, mind, spirit is one of peace and harmony. That's sometimes the biggest challenge of acceptance for self, is work that we do internally, beyond the physical. Three more breaths here. And then as you inhale, rise yourself up, supporting hands. I'm going to move into Shavasana. So I invite you to place your pillow or bolster underneath your knees. And if you are doing the reclined variation of you're quite ready to move to the next phase. Now, what I'm going to invite you to do is, with your blanket that's folded up, I'm placing that underneath my hips. And my knees have my bolster underneath. So I have a sense of opening in the lower abdomen, the sacral area. My knees are fully supported. And I invite you to cover your eyes with your eye pillow, cover yourself with your blanket. And soften here and relax in Shavasana for at least 5 minutes. You're at home, there's no rush. And after 5 minutes, whenever you're ready to rise up, move slowly into the rest of your time this evening or today, wherever you are. Moving with care, closing your practice when you do rise with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.